Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Street Urchin.
Not to hurt your feelings.
It's 2 in the morning and I thought to myself, maybe I should record some of the ridiculous thoughts I have that, prevent me from going to sleep. You think this is water, don't you? One of those thoughts that I have is about typing people for MBTI. You've probably heard me use the term MBTI math before. That's when you take someone's cognitive function preferences and then you would logically deduce how they would behave based on those cognitive functions. Let's take the ISFJ for example. Introverted sensing, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and then finally extroverted intuition. From what we know about MBTI, the first 2 functions more or less make up the person in general. So this means we can conclude that an ISFJ is big on tradition and big on cooperation. Very respectful, very keen on consistency and routines. Not a big fan of things changing or people being generally disrespectful. I'm basically ISFJ repellent. But then the question becomes, how does that behavior present in everyday situations? Well, that leads us to a second term that I created. I call them the Crossroads. Demons unrelated. In life, we come across these junctures. A problem presents itself and then we have to figure a way to solve the issue. And it's at these crossroads that allow us to determine the preference of cognitive function. An ISFJ has a homework assignment due this Friday. And what will they choose to do with that assignment? Well, using the MBTI math, we can assume that through their lead function, introverted sensing, that they're not just going to forget the assignment. As a matter of fact, they're most likely going to stress about the assignment until it's complete. Because introverted sensors also know that doing your homework is important. Now, are they going to ask for help on this assignment? Unless it's something they really can't figure out, the assumption would be no, not really. And this is caused by their second function, extroverted feeling. They don't wish to become a burden to someone else. Typically, an ISFJ takes on the burdens, not push them onto others. And with their tertiary introverted thinking, they're most likely not going to have an issue with standard homework assignments. And no matter what, they're going to follow the assignment to the letter. And besides the fact that introverted sensing is their lead function, they have extroverted intuition in the last position. So thinking outside the box, coming at it from a different angle or perspective, they are uncomfortable with it and most of the time find it to be a waste of time. So, barring unexpected things happening, we can assume that the ISFJ will complete the assignment on time, followed exactly as instructed, with little to no issues. So, using MBTI math, we can actually assume what most personality types will do under, normal circumstances. Now, obviously, that's a very basic example. It's really during the human interactions where things get, tricky. If you're new to MBTI, it can be a little bit difficult to focus on those crossroads and finding out what cognitive functions that person chose to go with. When you're having a conversation with someone, you would be paying attention to the topic of conversation, but also how they're choosing to respond. Are they complaining to you about past relationships? Are they telling you about a restaurant they went to yesterday and how they really loved the enchiladas? Maybe a new alien documentary is premiering tomorrow. These are all major clues as to that person's interests, what they prefer to engage in. And on those topics of conversation, do they choose to go with their gut instinct? Do they want to think it through? Are they just regurgitating a review they read about? These are the clues that you're looking for at the crossroads. What are they choosing to do instead of doing something else? And it's those aggregate choices that help us determine someone's personality type. Are they using these functions a lot or a little? As you get better at recognizing the patterns, it'll take you far less time to, type someone accurately. And of course, that's the key word here.
Accurately.
I've been doing my own study and my own research on MBTI for over 10 years now. And it wasn't until like 2 years in that I actually started picking up these patterns in people and getting to that level of accuracy that allowed me to, really dive in further. Hopefully, if you're watching my videos, then we can, cut that time down significantly because obviously MBTI has some real-world applications. Knowing the patterns that people fall into, super helpful for job placement, long-term relationships, or just finding out if someone's going to be a good friend or not. Which, by the way, ISFJs, always good friends. Always. And when it comes to relationships, my only real gripe with it is that 90% of the time someone has mistyped themselves. You talk to someone who says they're this type, you talk for a while, you end up not liking them, now you may end up associating that type with that behavior, and then all of a sudden you hate all INTJs forever. Just remember that if it were up to the population of the planet, intuitives would make up something like 80 to 85% of the total population, and of course nothing would get done, ever. I recently read a study that in Germany, that 10% of the population was ENTP. The whole country would be on fire right now. And I don't mean like crashed economy and no one going to work. I mean literally, the country would be on fire. You put that much irresponsibility and carefree attitude in one place, something's gonna blow up regularly. And when you're typing people, there can of course be complications. The ones you really have to watch out for are extroverted feelers, because a lot of the time they don't really care about what you want to talk about. They just want to be on the same page and for you to like them. I've had a great number of ESFJs pretend to be interested in whatever it was I was talking about, because of course I had something they wanted, an empty ring finger. So to wrap everything up,
That's a wrap!
When trying to type someone, you're looking for what they want to talk about, what decisions they make based on the situation. Person you know goes through a breakup. Do they just want to sit around and eat a tub of ice cream? Do they want to just sit in their room and write sad poetry for a week? Do they just want to head to the bar and hit on the nearest thing with 2 legs? Or do they not care because work just called and they have things to do? These are clues to that person's general behavior. And once you've learned to correctly associate certain behaviors with certain functions, then you have figured out MBTI. And that's it for today's video. Be sure to check out my Discord and Patreon. Last week we did karaoke, which was fine, I guess.
Anybody see? Is anybody waving?
And I don't remember what we're doing this week, so you have to go to the Discord and find out. And that's it for this video. I'll catch you next time. Bye!